Hello and welcome to episode 3 in our series of healthy habits. We're talking nightly routine. So, sleep, something that's super underappreciated, I feel like, and the nightly routine, I feel like, has a big part of that, and whether you get a good night's sleep or not.
I agree. And as somebody who's in the creative field, it gets difficult to have a good sleep routine. Sometimes I'm working till 11 o'clock, and then sometimes I'm like, I'm done working at 5 p.m. So
Yeah. So, I mean, if you get in a zone, you don't want to it up and go to sleep.
Exactly, yeah. And that's it. Sometimes, I try to be in bed by 11 or so. But sometimes if I start editing at 9 o'clock or get, inspired by something, if it's a 4 or 5 hour window and you're in the zone, like you can't stop the zone. And then I think that's really hard sometimes to balance. Is like, is it more important to finish this edit because I found that zone in that sweet spot? Or is it like, beep, beep, hit the zone, 2 hours in, I'm flowing, but it's time to go to bed. So,
yeah, that's something I deal with too. It's like you're almost weighing like what's more valuable, work or health.
Yeah, well, yeah,
and what's more important?
But then you hit the part too that if you're like somebody who's like a rebel, you're like, I know my bedtime's coming up at 11 o'clock and it's 10:30, and you're just like, let's get out the books, let's start working because I don't want to go to bed.
Yeah.
Like, I mean that's a lot. Do you deal with any of this stuff?
It's kind of funny because I'm sitting over here like I'm listening to my body, but then I also hear you where I'm like I get in the flow myself on things that I'm working on, but I also have to find that end spot. Like where can I stop for the night, and then just like let it go, because the same thing with my mornings sometimes too. If I'm going through some work that I just was like I need to just pump this out, get it done, but then I feel so accomplished once I do it, and then that way I'm not having to go to bed thinking about
exactly
that,
because then that adds to like more restful sleep.
Right.
Because if you aren't, because say you shut off the project, now you're thinking about when you're going to get it done, or if you're going to find that flow again. Now is your sleep quality as good as it was before, if you were doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's a can of worms we opened in this episode.
Do you guys have set hours that you want to be done with work by the end of the day? Or does that vary?
I mean, all these episodes are starting to like open the door to like maybe I need to be more routine with my stuff, because I'm thinking like to answer your question at this moment, no. I mean, if I have nothing to do and it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm awake, I'll be like, cool, let's work on a project if I got a project. And if not, then I don't. And then I'll be like, cool, let's go to bed. It's all dependent on, I guess, like what the workload is.
Yeah. I know I can totally relate. And I'm thinking like, should I have a cutoff or like, what's that like? But the days vary so much that sometimes it can be tough. Like if that's my 3-hour window to get something done, that's when it is.
And that's what, for instance, like tonight I have a project I'm filming at 10 o'clock. So if my bedtime was 11, I'm sorry, like I can't do this work because my bedtime's at 11. So if you want a hard stop at 10:45, and then I got to drive home really fast. But no, that's really difficult.
Yeah.
Especially like I'd say in the entrepreneur field. I think entrepreneurs as a whole, I think we're working as much as we can when we can, and then as much sleep as we can get is awesome, and let's keep grinding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And shifting your schedule too. Like if you're finding that you can stay more consistent if you are working later at night, if you're not having to work early mornings, and maybe just shifting it back, like your whole schedule, so that that way you're still staying in a routine. So I know I have to do that throughout the year sometimes, depending on who I'm working with.
Yeah. I imagine too. You're pretty structured on all this?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about Brady and I as like projectors in human design. Like we should be more structured, and we're not. This like I said earlier, this episode is really like hitting me in the face right now.
Welcome to Chris Douglas's self-discovery podcast.
My God. Wow. Okay.
But it is interesting thinking about it, though. I do wonder, like for you, you more or less procrastinate a lot of times in the morning, like we discussed in the last episode. Is shifting it to later hours, start and end time might, work out better.
Maybe I need to procrastinate before I wake up, or after I wake up, before I wake up, like in my dreams. No, it's after I wake up and then before I go to bed. But then that hits the part on the things you do right when you wake up and right when you go to sleep, or what you build more into your day.
Yeah.
Or what you grow.
Yeah.
It's a bag of worms.
It
It
is a
is.
bag of worms.
But
So
staying with that schedule, and then you're just following it through the day and staying consistent with it.
Yeah, I
That's
think-
more or less.
I think I need to get a more consistent sleep schedule though. That'd probably help, or at least
Yeah.
like, all right, it's midnight, computer's off, hit the sack.
Yeah.
So isn't that part of it too? Like, a lot of this I feel like could be controlled if you put in the work to train yourself to be more efficient in earlier hours. And, you know, when you don't try to make it a habit, your flow states could be varied throughout the day because your body doesn't know the routine.
Yeah, it does take building a habit for sure, and
Yeah.
self-discipline definitely, and you know, for some that's a challenge
Yeah,
to really build
maybe
that.
I need to work on that this week.
But I mean, small steps is kind of just like the small things that you can do to help, you know, nourish your body and all the self-care ways. But just adjusting your schedule just a little
Yeah.
bit at a
I was
time.
gonna say I got a lot to accomplish this week, so maybe I'll start working on my editing at 9 to 11. Maybe that's what.
AM.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a good because I'm still awake and fresh, and by 11 o'clock I'll probably want to work out or eat some lunch.
That actually, I mean, I would agree with something like that because that way, for anybody who might be, you know, having trouble going to sleep, because technology will affect your sleep patterns
Yeah.
because of the screen and stuff. So, working on stuff on the computer, if you're having to look at screens quite a bit, doing that earlier in the day would be a great
Mhm.
idea.
Yeah, I'd like to get away from my screen at night and do more of maybe some planning or what. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I created the intention, so
Yeah.
we'll do that.
So for myself and everybody listening, what have you noticed to be effective, you know, parts of the routine to help you get to sleep quicker and get good night's sleep?
My bedtime routine, definitely. Well, so my brain is hard to disconnect from all the things I'm thinking about. So using CBD is a favorite of mine. Essential oils like lavender,
I love lavender.
peace and calming. Idaho blue spruce, blending it with, you know, lavender, or lately I've been diffusing pine a lot. So it just kind of depends on what I'm going for that night. But
Yeah. Lavender puts me. It's like see you,
Night.
see you later.
and then blend that. I listen to meditative music, so like having those vibes in the background and unplugging from, you know, just having a plain space that I'm just listening to the stuff going on outside and stuff, like filling the space with good tunes.
Yeah, that's something I definitely haven't tried. Like, honestly, most of the time I fall asleep like watching TV, which probably doesn't lead to good sleep, I would guess.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah,
not.
really. I'm starting to question my before bed routine right now. So this has just been the Chris Douglas self-discovery episode. Yeah, because I've been editing before bed a lot lately. So, and I've been probably getting stressed because my edits. I'm like, oh, this isn't working out, and then the computer's overheating, and then I'm staring at a screen before bed. So no wonder my sleep.
Well, don't
quality
get
has
me
been
wrong.
really-
Like, I work on the computer or my phone too right before bed, but I have to consider what I'm working on before I start getting into it. Because, like you're
Yeah.
saying, if you get into a project that you're going to stress out over, you cannot let yourself get into that right before
Yeah.
bed, or else you're just going to be wired. Because, I mean, if you're like us, we might be just like.
Yeah,
screaming
and
and
from that
yelling.
angle too, I don't try to do anything new around that time. It's just like, let's watch the video, let's see like what stuff we can prepare for tomorrow, more or less. But then sometimes that opens up the rabbit hole of like, oh, I just got a cool idea, and then you're like, crap.
And then you write it
Well,
down.
yeah, no, and at that point, I'm almost like, all right, I'm gonna remember this tomorrow morning that this
No,
is what I was.
You
on.
write it down.
Yeah.
Because when you tell yourself you're going to remember it, you.
Yeah, you
don't.
create more stress. Yeah. And I'll put a reminder on my phone. Hey Siri, beep, beep.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it to go off.
Oh man. Yeah, this is a tricky one. Any final tips for people looking to develop a better routine out there?
Create the intention so you can start creating your routine today.
Well said.
Boom.
Love it. Awesome.
Infomercial.
There you go. Set the intention, and we have one more episode next week on the Healthy Habits series. So stay tuned for the finale, and we'll see you then.